All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Business Blueprints. This is episode 29, and we are going to dive into some construction. This week, we have Justin Escajeda with Escajeda Masonry, and man, I appreciate your time and coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. So how did your location on the corner? Like we talked about it before we came on. My story background on it, I was a landscaper and I was all around that area for a long time. I always took that back way to Nevillewood, coming from the Mount Lebanon area.
Yeah.
So I passed your place for years, years and years.
Yeah.
So how did all that come about? How did you get involved in masonry?
Well, it was right after high school, got right into masonry. My dad actually knew. My dad used to labor for the Masons when he was in college and high school, and he knew an owner of a local union masonry company and got me a job there. And to tell you the truth, I just never stopped working there. I never stopped doing it. And something that was actually one consistent. I tried a lot of different stuff to make money, right? A ton of different stuff to make money. And I always stuck either doing that or went back to it shortly just because 18, 19-year-old kid is making good money doing that. I mean, you're busting your ass, but I liked it, so.
And that's important.
Yeah.
I think people lose sight of that as they're nowadays they're chasing checks. And, it's funny. I'll be at family functions or I'll be out at somewhere and everyone's just like, I don't know. I fucking hate my job. Miserable. I don't know. I don't have enough vacation days. I'm gonna try and take 4 weeks vacation. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm blessed. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way ever.
Yeah.
I'd have no vacation days, but I'm fine with it. To me, there's not a day, even no matter the chaos that's going on, that I'm not excited about what we have going on. I've never not felt that.
Yeah, it's definitely it can be chaos, that's for sure. But you know what we do, I enjoy because it's not like you said, there's no monotony to it. There's a hell of a lot of problems, especially with owning your own business. It's like I was just talking to somebody actually yesterday morning, and we were talking about owning a business. He did not own a business, but I was telling him about it. He's thinking about it or starting one up. And I said, dude, listen, it's like if I had to make an accurate percentage, I'd say it's just like the 90-10 rule with money, but I'd say it's like 90% of the time you have problems and shit you're fighting with and, stuff that you don't want to handle. 10% of the time running a business, that's where all the glory is, right? But 90% of the time is putting out fires. It's listening to crying employees. It's making sure you have enough money, making sure your liquidity is right. It's the most stressful thing in the world, but at the same time, too, it's definitely the most enjoyable, most get the most satisfaction out of it. I think.
So you don't work in the field anymore,
no.
Hands-on.
No, typically.
So
not, no.
One thing that I've seen over the years as guys go from a guy in the field to an operator in a business, that's a hard transition. It's a very hard transition to put down that tool belt and go into the office. Well, because most field guys are like, fuck that office. You got me in a what? No office for me.
That's a
big thing you hear in construction.
It's a valid point. Because you know what? It's like a lot of times people just think like, hey, just because this guy's a good plumber does not equate to him running a good plumbing business.
Correct.
Right? Like it's two totally different trades.
Two totally different things. You're a great plumber.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're a good business operator, right?
Completely right.
And here's something too. It's like, that's a big thing that we try to strive for, like in all our companies, is that dissension between field and office, right?
Because they all have their own interpretation.
They do,
and they all have their own vision of the company because they're looking at it through their blinder and through their sector of the business.
Yeah. And if you actually started, maybe not all field guys, but managers, foremen, project managers, you really start. I saw a major difference whenever I started bringing them into numbers meetings and actually showing them some profit and loss statements and really going into hey, here's our production rates. You know what I mean? This is actually you saw what the price of the job was, but this is actually what we made. And it blows some people's minds.
100%.
It blows some people's minds. Now, granted, you could show all the financials you want to some people, and they're just going to be like, nah, you got money.
Yeah.
You got it all hid away.
You're
but
good.
at the same time, too, like there are people who do actually learn and like want to make it better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've saw a lot of great results by actually bringing some of those people in from the field that, the ones that you think it would benefit.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what, it's a game changer.
Yeah, so last episode I had our coach on, and he came up to do an in-person day with us in our office and just basically went through each department, kind of did a SWOT analysis, started making sure like where our inefficiencies are. Because I think, when people talk about a business and a scale of a business, people get distracted and don't always work on the correct problems. There's a lot of problems, and maybe you're not prioritizing the correct problems that actually move a needle. So that's what our coach came up with. But we leave tomorrow. We're going down for a couple days of coaching, and we always take 3-4 team members. Ones I feel it'll benefit.
Yeah.
And again, just to be involved with what we're doing as the leadership team, and I've kind of made it a thing now. Now they're kind of molding our coaching program around some of the other people are starting to bring their teams and some other stuff like that, because the way I look at it is, I'm going to spend money. Why would I want to learn by myself?
Yeah.
Like, why would I? Because then I'm going to come back and just puke all over the team, and they're not going to understand the real benefit of like the atmosphere, the culture. Like you said, both of us have been through the shit. So when we talk about how painful this has been, we both understand. So now when they go through the coaching program, they understand it from the whole thing, instead of me just coming back and saying, okay, we're going to change this, and this. They're going to understand the why we're going to change.
And have
this
you
now.
saw like a lot of like good results?
Absolutely.
From bringing those people down there?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, because it for one, they're involved, and we kind of make an experience. We fly everyone down first class. We rent a nice hotel. We'll have a nice dinner together. We'll make it like a coachable thing, like a team thing. And then, they enjoy it. We do a big workout together. We do all these things together. Again, it's more team collaboration.
Yeah.
And I've always been an open book with our numbers.
Yeah.
So like our old office, before we moved, my entire conference room, I made it into a chalkboard wall, and I wrote all over it.
Okay.
Numbers, data, budgets, where we're at, where we're lacking, where we're not. Because again, I don't care about showing any of that. If it bothers you as an employee, then okay, you can leave. But I'm an open book here. We're going to win, lose, and celebrate together. And cry.
No, I dig it. I absolutely dig it. I honestly, and I'm like you in a lot of those respects, because if there is one thing that I really emphasize is constant dissection of financials. Just every day, that's all we look at, right? Because nine times out of 10, in my opinion, like your field guys, they're going to be producing, right? You're probably going to be making money. I mean, sure, there's a lot of different processes that could be improved in on the field, but most of the time it's like, I used to have this estimator, and he used to say, bricklayers are like well-trained robots. You give them material, they're going to lay brick all day long. And you know what? That's any trade, and that's any field.
They're just not going to ask whether it's the right brick or not.
Correct.
Or check the slots.
Yeah. I mean, what is Thomas Sowell? He says, work without management is chaos.
Yeah.
And it's totally true.
Yeah.
So you definitely need the management, but it's the same thing. It's like. I almost always know we're making money on job. Now, don't get me wrong. Like all our companies, we job cost every single job, but at the same time, too, it's like, the other costs are what people don't really identify. Your overhead, your office staff, your marketing, and you know what I mean. It's like, are we doing accrual correctly? Are you not? Are you underbilling? Are you overbilling? Let me, you know what I mean. Let's see the WIP report. It's endless, But at the same time, too, the more dissection, the more you're going to find out.
Yeah, it's the same for us. When I look at our monthly report from our accountant, I look at only a couple numbers. One's EBITDA. I look at percentage allocation of overhead. I want to keep it at a certain percentage. I look at cash flow cycles, and that's really about it. I don't care that much.
Yeah.
And my efficiency number. That's my big one.
Yeah.
Because for us now, I mean, we started a department, same as you guys. I mean, we're probably now at $6-7 million a year in cost of goods sold.
Yeah.
I mean, we have we have 2 guys that sit in an office, and all they do is bid, and just the purchasing department. They bid, their takeoff in, sending POs, all the same stuff. But I mean, we found 400 grand in savings this year.
Yeah, dude. Awesome.
From people
sick
beating our ass.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, that's what's interesting too. Is because like everyone's different, right? You said you like to see certain financial reports. I'm the same way. Like we actually have like our CFO, he likes to put in everything. Just he's crazy, but like we've narrowed like things down. Like, okay, we have a bottom line, but then we have a second bottom line too, because we only care about operating, the net operating income. You can stick that depreciation, amortization, and all those non-cash items. You can stick them down there, right? Because unless we're doing taxes or we're evaluating a business, I don't care.
I don't either. It's a big report, and most of it, 92% of it, I don't care about.
Yeah. Like you fucking save it.
Yeah. Couple numbers I monitor. Same as everybody else. Like I don't like chasing tangible money. Like I don't try and set goals at the beginning of the year of like, hey, let's say we're going to 25 million. I like to do, hey, we got to do 25 homes this year.
Yeah.
We got to change 25 families' lives. That should get us to a goal.
Sure.
I don't love chasing dollars. I was a street kid and I chased dollars my entire life. And some of the biggest mistakes I made in my life was chasing $1 million. Like I thought it was gonna like change my fucking life.
Nope.
It didn't. Well, it did in a negative manner, but it made me mature in the sense of like that dollar allocation's not what gets you there. It's completing the projects in a timely manner for the people that need it that ends up leading to money on the back end.
Exactly. It's like I don't care about actually having the money. But
I enjoy making it.
I love making it. I love using it as the yardstick, as the tool that it really is. Like
I couldn't align better on that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my alignment.
Yeah, Milton Friedman, and I have this thing in my office that says, money is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. You know what I mean? And it's like, like something weird I do too. Like, I always check all the bank accounts and everything. But something that I also like to do, I'll look at all our accounts receivable too. I'm just like, hey, like that really makes me feel good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, shit, we need to get our liquidity up. This and that. It's like, you know what?
That's the kind of shit we're at now. Is we had our accountant came in last month. So I'm like, dude, where exactly are we? Like what's my monthly nut have to be? Like, what do I got to bring revenue wise based upon our ratios? What's our net break even? What's our gross break even? Like that's the same stuff where we're at. So how long have you been running Escajeda? How long have you been running Escajeda Masonry now?
I started it in 2012. Started in 2012, and I operated that, and through hiring extremely good people, we all helped build that company to multi-million-dollar company, and about 5-6 years ago we started to acquire other companies,
Nice.
and hold them and operate them too.
So let's talk about that. So it took you about 5-6 years to get stability inside of your company. And then you started scaling by acquisition. Is that how you decided you wanted to scale?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Now they're all separate.
Okay.
They're all separate companies. We keep them separate under a holdings company. But this about 5-6 years ago, there was this old roofer, and we had done some jobs for him.
Sure.
And he's old drunk guy, and he just
par for the course.
Yeah, he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, you want to buy my company?" And I was like, "Well, roofing synonymous with masonry, sure." And within 6 months, I was like, I just stroked a check and just increased my revenue by X amount. I was like, I'm on to something. Now, that was a very vague look into the complexity of it. You know what I mean? Like I
was going to be like, that all sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. But I mean, all the stuff that I've learned since then, we have 10 companies now, and it's like, dude, the valuation of companies, I can, in my opinion, and I'm not that smart, but in my opinion, it's like the wild, wild west.
I agree.
This guy thinks it's worth 10 million. This guy thinks it's worth 1.
Yep.
Oh, 3x multiple on EBITDA, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Oh, but on this side of the country, it's a 5x multiple. It's like, who do you listen to? It's like, let's just make a deal. Sometimes.
And that's what a lot
crazy.
of people like come to me. They're like, what's your exit goal on it? Will you sell? I'm like, honestly, it's so early for me to even care tell. You know, like
Yeah.
you said, like, what am I supposed to do? Put a 3x multiplier on my EBITDA, or like what? What am I supposed to value this at?
But here's
Like,
here's the bottom line. Like, it's your company.
Yeah.
You sell for whatever the fuck you want to sell it for.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to deal with a lot of owners. And just like in real estate, everybody thinks that they have the goose to lay the golden egg.
100%.
You know, and sometimes
because they're reacting emotionally, right?
Absolutely.
They build it to whatever degree.
Yeah.
They got their ass kicked up until that point, and they feel like it's worth
Absolutely.
17 times the effort they put into it.
Yeah. But to tell you the truth, and that's why, and a lot of times that's why I'm not afraid to pay for something maybe a little higher than market value or whatever market value is, right? Because like, hey, I know I'm holding it forever, right? And I know through a lot of the synchrony through my other companies, it's and I have it's going to increase in revenues, increase in profitability too. Like, and we're telling that story, and to be perfectly honest with you, like, it's not because we're geniuses. It's just because we're good cohesion between trades, you know? And that's where a lot of the problem comes in the general contracting world. You know, you're like, your bid's too high. You can't get them on site to do this. It's not perfect, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's the same stuff. I mean, we have an electrician that doesn't get along with a certain plumber. So if I
Right.
have an electrician
Yeah.
on this job, I can't. So Mondays we do sub allocation meetings, and we allocate which subs are going to which jobs based upon their bids, POs, distance per person, window time. I mean, all that fucking matters.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
Yeah.
because I got jobs that are hour and a half apart. I got jobs in Claysville. I got jobs going in Aliquippa. We got jobs going in Monroeville. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just window time is insane.
And do you have like a project manager on
Yeah,
each
so we have
job?
3 project managers, a production manager, and
Okay.
on that
and
side.
he coordinates all the
Yeah,
different
so we
trades.
kind of break up the builds in territories. We split, depending on which skill set for project manager and whether they're newer or more seasoned, they're going to get a little bit more of the difficult ones and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we divvy them out. But when we send one guy all the way in Monroeville, I try and keep him in that general direction.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I can try and maximize his day.
Are you designing the houses with the customer
Yeah, so
too?
we have in-house CAD.
Is that like? And I'm just asking because I've never experienced it, but like I remember years ago I bought a Ryan home, right? And like, for a Ryan home in VR, you know, they're major, but they put a lot of time onto me and my wife at the time, like, to design this house. So it's like, I mean, that's got to take up a lot of your staff's
so
time.
that's been one of the biggest things that we've been trying to really solve, is because that creates a real disruption in your cash flow cycle.
Yeah.
Because your client from start to your client cycle is so long. So we've shrunk it down. Bringing in-house CAD home is insane. Was like the best thing we could have done. But now it's same as you. Like, I'm trying to go linear across everything. So we just brought on a salesperson concierge and a construction concierge who's that one person to contact all the way through.
Yeah.
You know, because it's always like, well, I got to talk to that guy. Well, wait, now I got to talk to that guy. Well, now I got to talk to this guy. No. You just talk to Kevin.
Yep.
If you have any answers, you always ask Kevin.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin sets the meetings. Kevin sends follow-up. And, you know, it's just that becomes a real thing. But, we're trying to shrink it down to designing a home all the way from initial meeting all the way to dig ready about 70 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I have a pretty aggressive roadmap.
That's like, because I always thought that too, because I've done, obviously, you know, I've been in a lot of residential areas and worked for a lot of residential projects, and it's like, dude, I can only imagine the heartache from building a whole house to, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
a lot of decisions.
Yeah, a lot of decisions. And of course, customers vary, and some are more difficult than others,
Some are,
obviously.
I'll be honest, I mean, the ones that aren't ready to make the decisions, you can fucking tell.
Yeah.
And the guys that like harp over every dollar, you can tell, you know, and it's weird because, like, you know, I don't know. We understand it, but most businesses don't. Like, everybody wants to see all of our stuff broken down. But like, you don't go to like a restaurant and ask like, well, how much was your noodles? How much is labor? Like, how much is your overhead? How much is this?
Or the
like,
doctors.
Yeah, same shit. Like, okay, well, all right, here, I got this bill for $3,500. Can you break this bill down for me? Like, how much is the doctor getting? What's your overhead fee? Like, what are your profit margins on this? Everybody tries to bring us to zero. It's weird that it's like,
It is.
It's weird that it's like a thing in our industry.
And like would they even like understand it too if we did
no,
break it
but
down?
it's like, what if I came and did it at your job? You wouldn't have a job.
I know.
Like,
I know.
why do you like? Why is our number so negotiable?
We used to fantasize about creating an Angie's List for bad customers.
Facts.
How sick would that be?
It's funny that they just called me
like,
on the way here.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Is that a thing now?
No, Angie's List called me. They're like, did you do something with your account? I was like, no, I doubt it. But
okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, like if we can make an Angie's List for customers who suck really bad. You know what
because
I mean?
there's a fucking Facebook page for contractors that suck.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Might be onto something. But yeah, I've thought about that for a very long time. You always have those people in your mind that, I mean, I have people from 10 years ago that I still think about, like a couple total motherfuckers,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a part of the game.
It is, yeah.
Like, and I tell people, like, even younger people, my cousins and a lot of people, I'm like, can you make, just like we talked about before we went on, can you make a decent living in construction? Absolutely. You're going to earn every cent.
Yeah.
Every single penny of what you get. If you're in construction and you're successful and you have a healthy business, and I'm not talking leveraged by debt.
Yeah.
I'm talking a healthy business and you are doing decent in life, you earned every fucking dollar of it.
Yeah.
Every dollar.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people. Let's talk about the cash flow of construction, because I think a lot of people don't pay attention to it.
No. Definitely not.
I think it's the key to construction.
Oh, yeah.
If you can understand cash flow, you can run a business. Mm-hmm. I think when guys start, for me, I've always been very hesitant upon the big deposits. I don't like big deposits. I'd rather you just quit. I'd rather you say you didn't want to do the job.
Yeah.
People are always like, well, what if they don't want to do the job now? I'm like, okay, then I don't want to work for them.
Yeah.
I have no money to give back, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's.
I'm not in the give back game here.
No, not at all. And it's most of my construction, are in, well, not most of, probably, I'd say a good 60% is in public work. So prevailing wage, 30, 60, 90, depending on who's paying you. And it's like you have to have that understanding. It's so important.
90's big shit.
90 is.
90's big deal.
Dude, big deal. Charlie Munger always says it, like, cash is like oxygen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need to not have it for long for it to be very bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you really have to manage that. And back to accounting. My CFO taught me this. Get your billings out as soon as you can. Yeah. Get your billings out, because you don't know when you're getting paid.
No, 100%.
Just
because you sent a bill doesn't mean there's money coming.
No. Yeah. Hey, it looks great. Yeah. But A&R, like we were talking about.
It makes you feel good. Yeah. That's what keeps you, like, staying going. All right, I got to, okay. We got a little bit there.
Yeah. And I was just talking to my buddy. He was sending a big bill out, like $128,000 for some restoration job. And I said, oh, I love sending those 6-figure bills out. The only thing I love better is whenever I actually get paid for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Because it can sit there and say 12 days overdue, 30 days overdue, 50 days overdue.
30, 60, 90 aging summaries that I get every week. It's man. But at the same time, it's like, this is what you sign up for.
It is.
You don't know. Sometimes you get municipality, which is the Red Bank School District, way up north. They paid us 2 days ACH every time. Bing. You know what I mean? Awesome. Hey. There's other customers, I'm not going to mention any names, that I know everybody in Pittsburgh has heard of. 90 days minimum.
No doubt.
Right? It's like...
Yeah, we built a house for Maggie Hardy, her assistant, paid fucking instantly.
Yeah.
Change orders, didn't even fucking argue about a penny.
Yeah.
A $1.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's fine. Mm-hmm. And we understand, we want to change.
Yeah.
Oh, you understand. That's a word we don't hear often.
Yeah. Do you need any more work done?
Yeah, do you need any more work done? So when you talk about expansion, you talk about linear and everything working horizontal. So how does that actually look? So all of your businesses are relative to the same game you're doing now? All exterior type stuff?
Well, we bought a pretty big remodeling company, general contractor, in the area 4 years ago. And so it's taken us inside on a lot of stuff,
Different ballgame.
It is, and even some mechanical stuff too, because there were some plumbers and electricians came with it.
We did in-house. We did interior remodeling for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
It's up close and personal.
I'll tell you what. I'm shocked. I was shocked at the prices of some of the things that were being sold at the time in a good way, But at the same time, they're reasonable. Yeah. I was shocked because I was so used to exterior construction and how much that stuff costs, right? And when I come inside, it's like, oh my God, you guys are selling all this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, bananas.
But but we all, like I said before, we were, we have a insurance brokerage that one thing that I got so sick of paying was insurance. All these years, workman's comp, general liability, everything. It just drove me crazy. And I would be safe, and I do all these safety committee and all these, and it's like, we just started our own because we had a book. We had a book, and that has not been easy whatsoever. That is extremely difficult. The insurance industry is nuts.
Yeah.
But then like I said, we try to keep as much money in-house as possible. Now, obviously, it's an insurance brokerage, so we're not the carrier. At least we're getting a piece back.
Yeah.
At least we're getting a piece back. Who cares?
A little back.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, because you're paying across 10 companies.
Yeah. And it's like they just started selling direct for Progressive, Flow. So we got all kinds of Flow shit in the office now. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting in the sense that, you look forefront to take that on. And I was interesting because you always think about that because a lot of people don't understand about big builders is they only build houses because they have to. Like they carry mortgages. They have a mortgage company. They have an insurance company. They have a title company. So when you go through the NVRs, the Mirandas, the DR Hortons, they're all making money off you 5 times all along the way.
It's great.
Yeah. For most construction guys, we get one crack. Yep. One crack, one shot, and that's typically how that goes. And to now, again, you're not using it to make money, but you're using it to lump down your overhead because you're now paying workman's comp across 10 companies. You're paying general liability across 10 companies. Do you sell that insurance to anybody else or you just keep out?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're starting to get clients.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually, the girl.
Like a real business now.
Yeah, the girl who runs the company, she's starting to interview agents and she's at school trade shows and stuff, trying to recruit people. So it's going pretty well. And believe me, when I say to you it's going pretty well, if you would have asked me 4 months ago, I'd be honest because you know what, that's the thing too. It's like you see people on these podcasts or interviews and stuff, and they're like, oh, we did this. We just implemented a couple systems. It's going great.
Yeah, sure.
And my opinion, it's like I call bullshit because that stuff's fucking super tough.
Yeah.
And it takes a really long time. Yeah. So like. With that, we had a lot of bumps in the road, but I'm finally starting to see some clearing with it. And, but at the same time, like you said before, we got into material supply too. So my thing with that is like, okay, hey, even if I lose a job to one of my competitors, at least I get a piece of the material. Yeah. Right. So. And I can obviously help my companies with the material prices.
So what kind of materials are you selling? Are you selling like all exterior? Or are you selling all interior? Or are you
mostly exterior?
Okay, yeah.
Mostly exterior.
Yeah. Like you have your own brands, or are you just selling let's say you're selling like LP, or you're selling like Hardy or brick or
brick, block, stone, sand, aggregates, cleaners, caulking, shit like that. Yeah.
Nice. So you have a yard and.
Well, we're closing on a company in a month. And we've been beforehand kind of been going back and forth with him, kind of making deals with it, helping his business, helping our business. And so in a month we'll be closed and be able to fully exploit. I'm not allowed to say who it is now, but it's only because 100%. I have an NDA.
Sure,
but,
no doubt.
But yeah, it's going really well.
Good.
With that,
so that's your next bigger expansion.
It's pretty big, and I'm nervous about the accounting side for the inventory track. I've never done it before.
It's a whole other beast,
and I'll say it in front of anybody. Like I'm worried about. There's going to be a transition piece there that and
you talk about cash as oxygen. You're really going to need it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But it's a logical next step in my opinion. And my thought is always, hey, if the business that I'm looking at to buy is, solid and profitable as a standalone, and it's even better, so it'll be even better whenever we buy it. But at the same time, too, at worst case scenario, I just mimic exactly what the old owners did. Because that's all anytime we've bought in a company, we always have to come in and talk to the employees. Because the employees are the most important thing. Yeah. Most of the time, if there's no employees, there's no fucking business, right? So like. I always tell them the same exact story because it's the truth. Like, hey, I know how to start a business. if I wanted to start a new business, I would have done it. But I like your business. I just spent a shit ton of money on it, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to do the exact same thing your old boss did. Your wages are going to stay the same. You might get some new benefits in healthcare because we have so many people, but at the same time, too, like, nothing's going to change. I could guarantee you that. Yeah. We want to learn the process so we don't have, like, I want that cash machine printing day after closing. You know, I don't want to go in like, hey, we're going to initiate all these new systems and blah, blah, blah. Hey, because people are freaked out already that their company's being sold. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know how well I do it, but I try to, you know, minimize the fucking giant, you know.
The uproar.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I try to get ahead of it.
Because you're right. I mean, and this is my experience. I've been involved with a lot of construction companies that inevitably get bought out by bigger construction companies. Now, the companies never get fucking better. They get worse. For short term, for sure. Because it's typically some big corporate company that tries to come in and do some corporate bullshit, fucks it all up, and then I get tired of what they got going on, and then I inevitably end up leaving anyways as a consumer.
Yeah.
You know, and that was going to be my thing. So how do you get now? Do people approach you now when wanting to buy because I'm sure it's more just like a word of mouth thing. Like you bought from that guy, this guy's thinking about he wants to be done. So what makes you interested in wanting to buy a company? Because I'm sure you get approached with more than you buy now.
Oh, absolutely. 99% of the time, it's definitely doesn't fit our.
So what are your criteria that you look for when you want to purchase a business?
Obviously profitability, first and foremost. And then also too, like how is it going to fit in with our other companies? Will it fit in with other companies? Just because it won't fit in doesn't mean we're not interested in looking at it. But at the same time too, if it does, that's even more of an incentive for us, right? Hey, how's it priced? You know, is the owner willing to do a seller finance deal? You know, for not that much money down. Because a lot of them, I mean, there's some major tax implications for getting a giant check at closing, you know?
50+%.
Yeah, right? It's like, but at the same time, too, and then it's like, okay, hey, how do I generally feel about this company? Especially if I've known it. You know, I've grown up in Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, like, a lot of the times I know what the company is already. Yeah. So, and how do I feel about it? How have I felt about their employees? What kind of, you know, goodwill do they have? You know, which is another thing too. People are like, you know, putting the value on goodwill is like fucking crazy to me. Totally fucking crazy. Yeah. Like, I could do that. I can make up a number too.
Dollar value 0.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Make it all tangible so I can write it all off of my taxes this year, right? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost money. That was because of taxes.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that go into it, obviously. And for me, I would always expect kind of the time things.
Sure.
More of like, because again, like you said, it's got to be involved in what we're involved in. Because I don't have time to go learn a whole other new fucking business. Nor do I really care anymore. You know, like we're so long into the game of construction that we understand construction. I don't want to go out and be like I don't want to be an IT guy.
No.
Nor do I want to learn it.
Yeah.
That's zero desire or care.
What were we just talking about before with the stock market? Like, hey, I know there's other ways to make money. And I'm cool with not making them this way. I stick to what I know. Yep. You know, that's
so do you from a retirement standpoint, you're acquiring businesses as your retirement kind of deal.
Correct.
That's your stock play.
Yeah. I don't have a retirement plan at all. I don't have any kind of.
No, you spend all of it.
Yeah, I spend every cent.
I love it.
Spend it all. I hoard it until I need it, and I spend it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, what else are you gonna? I mean, there's only so many. I mean, I know guys. I mean, you know, physicals. That stuff only makes you happy for so long. The physical possessions. But
have you had to go through that phase though? There's a level of ego that always kicks in with most people when they start making money. Did you have to battle that?
You know what?
At any phase of your career.
I don't think so. I've never.
You seem very level-headed.
Yeah, I don't.
This is our first conversation ever together. So
Look, I always look at things for like the return.
Yeah.
Like what kind of return am I going to get in the future? Like for instance, I just built a house. I moved into it about a year ago. It's a pretty big house, but at the same time too, like, hey, I know the area. I know people are dying to come in here. I'm going to build it exactly the way I want and unique. That way, like if I have the right buyer, I'm definitely going to at least 3x my money. I think.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm not a realist. I'm not that much of a real estate guy, but
yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's my house. I can sell it for whatever I want. If somebody wants to buy it.
Yeah, I mean that's what people don't understand. I'm like, you put a number on anything you want, doesn't mean someone's going to pay that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, but I haven't. But no, I haven't. I really haven't spent too much. Like I said, I've gone down that path of I invested a lot in Bitcoin and I had a Merrill Lynch stockbroker for a number of years, and I just took it all out. I took it all out. You know what? If I'm going to lose the money,
I'm going to lose the money on my own.
It's going to lose. It's going to be the way I do it. And the fucking cryptocurrency is like a goddamn casino, anyways, in itself. I don't even know what it means.
No one does.
It's crazy.
No one does. Like no one. It's like people when they say they understand the fucking stock market. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I know.
No, you don't. Something happens and you react to it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Like, I was reading a thing that statistically the 90% of the stock people that are involved in stock just fucking guess.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right.
It's all timing. So like again, when you look at people again, why some of the people got rich on stock whenever they were younger from the older generation, because it was at fucking zero. Now it's at fucking 500. It was timing.
Yeah.
We weren't born and ready to play the game when it was at zero.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the few people that I have heard talk about stocks that do make sense to me, two people. Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch. But they simplified. It's like, okay, do you know this company? What does Peter Lynch always talk about? He's like, I love Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
So I invested in Dunkin' Donuts. God knows how much he made from Magellan Fund for Fidelity. But like at the same time too, like he understood that he liked the Dunkin' Donuts and he saw these people coming in. So he dumped a bunch of cash into it. And he made a bunch of money, and that's the model I take.
I was going to say you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I understand dummy business. Like, hey, we sell a construction service for X. What do I make off of it, right? So,
yeah. So I guess like anybody else, right? When they start to get involved in multiple ventures, that people start to talk about time. So how do you allocate your time during the week running 10 businesses? Well, how much time do you spend on actually operating all of them? Or what does your week look like?
I don't operate any of them.
Any of them?
None of them. None. No. I have some of the best, in my opinion, best minds in construction management running those companies, and it's like
from a COO standpoint, or
no, like they're in it every single day. There's several of them. A couple of them manage two companies.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you buy something linear enough to have a COO run two or three?
Yes, absolutely. And those guys are gems, right? And don't get me wrong, like the people right under them are gems too. Like they're geniuses. And it's like, and I've always come at it like this, like, okay, you've met those people in your life. You're like, that motherfucker is so smart, his work ethic is undeniable. Like those people that have always stuck out to me, regardless if they know the industry, I try to hire them because they can learn. They can learn, and it's worked out well so far.
Did you train a lot of your leaders early on? The reason I'm asking is because I have a struggle with some of that. Of like, like our business runs like this. So like. Our one partner, he's just the dude. He's extremely passive aggressive. We have an even keel, and then there's me. I'm high energy. I fucking fly off the handle. I'm reactional. I'm emotional. And that's kind of always like a struggle with some of the stuff of where you're at, of like training your leadership team to be able to make decisions without you, and training your team to understanding the way you look at a situation in the business and stuff like that. So that's why I was asking. Did you hire a lot of people, like you said, to train? Now, did you do the hands-on training, or was it like a COO?
No, it was it was me.
Yeah,
it was me. But at the same time, too, I told them from the beginning, like, look, I'm not going to overstep. Like I'm hiring you because I trust you. You're going to run it the way that I think it should be run. But I also trust your judgment, right? So I don't overstep. And like I said, we do weekly meetings with every single company. But at the same time, too, I talk to the same 5 people every single day throughout the day. But maybe more frequently if we're trying to buy a company, as it's getting closer, the valuations, different things we're going to talk about. Like right now, we're meeting a lot about this material company because it's coming right up, and we have a lot of things to kind of coordinate with the other companies for purchasing their materials now. Making sure the price is right.
Sure.
But mostly
with their vendors or their suppliers and stuff like that.
I'm cutting out their suppliers. Yeah. So no, that's why. Like I said, I only talk to about 5 people a day, but Mondays are actually pretty rough because we have our weekly meeting with 6 of them on Mondays. So it's like, yes, it's mentally, because to tell you the truth, I like to go running every day for, like 2 hours a day. And I like to, when I don't get that time, I get a little cranky. Yeah. But no, I work all day long too. Yeah. I'm working at home, I'm working at the office or what.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was telling me recently, they were like, when they get stressed out with work, they're only, they feel better when they work. Who the fuck just told me that?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Because
it made so much sense to me.
Yeah, because I like kind of just playing the Rubik's Cube of the game. I get satisfaction out of fixing the small problems and seeing the vision ahead of time and creating that and doing, and very similar, we would love to do kind of almost the same thing. We recently shut down our remodeling company. We were doing about $1.7 million a year in interior remodeling, and it was more just because we needed to focus linear on the home building for right now. The interior remodeling took so much more of our time. Yeah, and we looked at our profitability and was like, okay, we're bringing in 1.7. That provides X. Now, let's take the 1.7 million and add it over to new construction, which is our average sale cost is $860. So it's only 2 houses, a house and a half a year. I'm like, or 2.5 houses a year. I'm like, do you think we can really not sell 2.5 more houses a year? Yeah. And I'm like, what's the allocation of profitability off that 1.7? Plus, it wasn't about just profitability. It was time per the dollar. Yeah. Of like, how much time am I spending to make that dollar? Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah,
that's a big
because I was
deal.
spending a lot of fucking time to make $1, in that game. But I would love to rebuild it, and now that we understand a lot more of it, it would be essentially kind of like what you said. Just it all runs horizontal now. Yeah. I understand the game on a different level. Like we started that company and we first started for a cash flow company because again, we only get paid every 45, 60 days in new construction. But when we do, it's fruitful when we actually get paid. Yeah. So we needed supplemental income to kind of keep cash flow rolling and overhead expenses and things of that nature, which they were very low in the beginning. I mean, overhead creeps up on you fast, man.
Big time.
And before you're not paying attention to it, you're like, holy fuck, man! I got to bring in $1.5 million a month. Yeah,
and you start really looking at your costs and your line items. It's like, okay, is there bloat here? And that's the thing too. It's like, okay, you think, believe me, and I've spent so much time analyzing this. Like, you think that you're so lean.
You're not.
You think you're so lean, but like it's actually like I've come to believe that like. There's actually bloat in there, but you're just so used to that being a necessity that you're tricking yourself. You know what I mean? And you've tricked your whole staff too, and they all think it's a necessity too. So it's like,
so what do you identify? Or do you ever try and go through those and try and cut your overhead costs?
Oh yeah, all
Where
the time.
Where do you
start? Job costing, but like I said before, it's like so with job costing, like I said, it's. And your field guys are going to...
When you say job costing, you mean like purchasing, like estimating?
Just like look at okay, I'm going to look at this project, full numbers, full, top line revenue and what we did at the very end. You know what I mean? And it's the field guys are always going to produce. In my opinion, the field guys are always going to produce.
I always said it to everybody. I was like, construction always works itself out.
Yeah. Yeah,
always. It's just how efficiently can we do it?
Yeah. So a lot of times we don't really even need to look at the jobs, right? Okay, maybe this job made 20%, maybe this job made 5%, but whatever. Yeah. You're making money mostly on almost all of them, right? It's what are we doing on the other part? What are we doing in the office? How much are we spending on marketing? Hey man, marketing drives me nuts because I don't know if it's working half the time.
Hate it.
I don't understand it.
I hate it.
And everyone that comes in to try to sell their service or any of my companies, like, oh, I do this and this and this and this. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, we're all marketing fucking digital ad people, bullshit, SEO nonsense.
It's like, you know what? I put 8 years ago, I had And like I said, I'm not trying to say anything, but I had a billboard.
I've seen yours.
Did you see that one down 51 and 88? I had that grandfathered in for 3 years.
I've seen that for a long time.
Yeah, and guess what? If you drove the rest of the way down that road, you wouldn't see any other billboards from contractors. They're all over the place. You can't drive anywhere without seeing them now. So like, I try to tell myself like,
I've
okay,
never gotten one actual job for mine though.
yeah, I don't think so.
Never.
I don't
It's
know
a
if I did
branding
either.
play.
It is. So I try to tell
We're not fucking lawyers where it's
No.
like 188 lawyer.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I try to tell myself like, okay, like, and you see, and you've probably seen this too at not job fairs, home shows. Everyone's advertising the same exact way. Everyone's sending the same signal. So I always try to tell myself, how can we like be different? How can we stand out? Because like otherwise we're just competing with everybody. You know what I mean? And that's
Hoping someone calls.
yeah. It's tough. I don't know. It always trying to stay ahead, but always trying to do what your like. That's what I always tell myself. Like, what are my competitors not willing to do? Because that's what I'll do.
You've been doing this for a minute now. Do you believe the days of the companies that solely run on referrals is over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I love him to death. He's probably one of my best friends. He's been a part of a high-end GC company, and they've operated in Mount Lebanon, Upper St. Clair for a very long time, and that's all they do. They do no marketing, no website, no nothing. And I was like, bro, you're going to get fucking mowed over. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, it's not about just you. It's about your son. Like, what's he going to do when he takes over?
Yeah.
Because it's not about, you're almost done, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not. What is he going to do? And I'm like, you're going to have to market.
You have to.
I don't know. We don't even have a website. I'm like, I get that. It works right now, but like for your future, I don't know if that's going to be a thing, you know? And because again, everybody loves the referrals, and that's a great, that's probably the best marketing thing you can have, you know, just like with buying businesses.
Yeah.
But how many do you get thrown? Just like you said, you get thrown more at you than you buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, everybody, it's like, I think it's so sophisticated too. But one thing I do, like my dummy brain knows about marketing is everybody uses Google.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, roofers near me.
Yeah.
Remodeling near me.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what I think is important. But they, you know, and we spend so much money on these marketing campaigns. And
I
all
do
this
too.
shit.
I'm pretty frustrated.
Just bent over.
I'm pretty frustrated with a few of them.
Just get, and I don't.
We had our marketing meeting this morning, and I was like, I gotta go like take a breath here. I'm just not sure.
I'm
I
sorry.
was like, did we get any leads from this thing? They're like, no, zero. I was like, yeah, I'll be back.
Well, you know what's funny? Hey, listen, I ran the Pittsburgh Marathon yesterday, right? Running through the full, running through all the different parts of the city, right? I bet you I saw 15 construction jobs. So obviously, no one was working on them.
Sure.
Like, saw scaffold up, and obviously signs of a job, right?
Sure.
I didn't see one sign on any of those jobs.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy to me.
We just today, it was funny that you said that. We do a pretty good, we market all of our sites, but I'm like, 36 by 42, big signs. I want them on every fucking site. Build on your land. I want to explain exactly what we do. Big bold letters, built on your land, like every site. Don't care.
Yeah.
Every site.
I'm telling you. And so we talk about, at least in our, a lot of our places, like, we have erected these giant scaffolds or swings hanging from skyscrapers. Like, hang a sign on the back of the swing. It's a free billboard.
Free.
Yeah, it's
free
free.
as fuck.
Yeah.
It's going to get everybody's attention.
Exactly,
Because we pay $2,500 a month for billboards.
Yeah.
I mean, them ones down by Topgolf for $5,000.
Oh, man.
$6,000 a month.
I see. Yeah. Those are big.
I'm like, I'm not fucking paying that. The only reason I still have a billboard is because I negotiated it for like no escalation clause for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll pay the whole year. I'll sign up for a year. Don't raise my shit. Don't raise my shit.
I think that's a hack. Yeah, because I did that too.
Yeah.
Then eventually I was like, fuck this billboard.
I'm close to being saying fuck it too. Because I'm like, do I, just like you said, I'm a believer in Google. I'm like, okay, do I take this $2,500 a month and just dump it into SEO and actually get us to rank higher? Because I look at our competition and we start pulling numbers on Thursday. I was like, all right, well, this company's ranking 41% higher than us. This company's ranking 38% higher than us. This company's ranking 52% higher than us. I'm like, how do I close that gap?
Yeah.
That's the gap we need to close here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my opinion on your billboard thing, it's like, if you've had it up for 4 or 5 years, like, those people are Hemlock Homes is burned in their brains.
And it's right after our office. So like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's burned in there. Like they know who you are for sure.
And I'm not putting one anywhere else for $6,000 a month. I'm like, yeah, you're fucking mine.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not happening.
Yeah.
You know? And so is there a primary location that you guys do a lot of your work in? Because I know for us, we're more rural. So like we're in Claysville, we're in Washington, we're in McGuffey, we build a little bit in Peters, but there's not a lot left.
Sure.
We build a little bit in, Upper St. Clair. There's not a lot left. Is there a specific geo targeting that you guys do for all your businesses, or you just throw shit at the wall like the rest of us?
They're wherever we get the jobs at. Like I said, from a commercial standpoint,
you guys got travel and commercial.
Yeah, and then we do a lot of city work, obviously,
which I fucking despise. I don't even have a city license anymore.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even
rough.
do it anymore. Yeah, we built 4 townhouses on the north side. After that, I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Nope, done.
Oh,
nope,
yeah.
Fuck you over there. Fuck you. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm over this.
Actually, there was who was it? I forget what company we built a couple of townhouses for in Northside too. I think it was P.W. Campbell. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago, but it's mostly restoration work we do anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and that's worth it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll go wherever we get the calls for.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's interesting whenever you kind of what people are tolerant. Like once you get in and talk about scalability, like, we were talking with our coach, like, where do you want to go? I mean, we just had this discussion, like Deep Creek's always a hot topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of like, you want to go down to Deep Creek. Like nobody down there builds an efficient house. There's tons of land. Everybody wants to do it, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get involved in that game.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because like I'm a believer in like trying to, and I know we keep buying more and more companies, but at the same time too, I'm a believer in finding like max efficiency in a certain size of a business, right? Mm-hmm. Like if this little roofing business is great at $5 million and I'm getting a 20% return, hey, that's cool for the next 40 years of my life, right?
Great
So I don't want to jam what do they say, a round peg into a square hole or whatever. But like, I don't want to do that. So if like something's been working especially if we're buying a company, it's been working for 40 years, who the hell am I to say like, hey, let's do it like this and change it?
That was going to be one of my next questions. Do you keep the companies at kind of the economical scale they're at when you buy them?
Yeah.
You don't look to scale them. You're just looking to efficiency them.
Yeah. They naturally scale a little bit at times just from like, because we lead share everything and subcontract
you can cross
each other.
Share all the way across.
Yeah, and subcontract each other out all the time, But other than that, no, we stay in the same markets, same processes.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, if there's
room for growth.
Room for growth or efficiency improvements, like we're definitely going to do that. But at the same time, too, like even like I noticed the smallest thing pisses old employees off, like just filling out timesheets. You said nothing was going to change. This time we never had to do timesheets before. I'm like, it's for your payroll. You know what I mean? Just like, I don't know. So it's
ours too, because like he'll be like, I forgot to clock in. I'm like, oh God. Wish I could clock in and out. Sorry that you had to hit a button 3 times. It's my bad.
Yeah.
So what do you think it's as far as like scalability and all the other things, the roofing sector's that's done quite a change over the years.
Yeah, man. It's tough. It's flooded.
Flooded.
Is there going to be like
flooded?
Is there gonna be like a roofing bubble? Because like,
flooded,
dude, it's like
I thought construction just like in like remodeling was like bad, just because the barrier of entry is so low here in Pennsylvania. Like there's no test, there's no nothing. $50 of the fucking Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you're a contractor, you can build a house. It's the scariest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
But roofing is just on a fucking whole other ridiculous level.
Yeah. Like I could probably be corrected by a million different people. This is my opinion, right? It's like we've bought 4 roofing companies, and it's like these private. So I've had a lot of talks with private equity firms and people who are trying to sell to private equity, and it's like, and I investigated on the internet, and there's a lot of talk on podcasts and this and that about it. But it's like, okay, a private equity firm buys a roofing company, and then I guess the model is like to conglomerate it with like multiple other ones, and whether that be like a leveraged buyout, I have no idea. But like, how much money can a roofing company, really be worth to the end user, to the end buyer? That's my thing. Is like, who's that end buyer? Somebody's got to be
exit strategy.
Yeah, somebody's got to be left holding the bag, right? And here's what I really have the problem with. Like, okay, like a company in its purity, right? It's started by the founder. That's the inception, right? Then maybe once in its lifetime, it turns over owners, right? Whether that be to the next generation, his son or daughter, or maybe he sells at one time, right? Like, and that transition is such a fragile period, right? Now you're talking about doing this multiple times to a company over a series of 5-10 years? Like, what does that do to the company culture? What does that do to the processes? Like, who's the manager?
Every one of them.
Right. It's like I'm not. Hey, maybe I'm wrong.
The company's not going to get any better.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong though. I don't know, but like I see it as an impurity in my opinion.
It is.
That's just my opinion. Yeah. I don't know, but I think that there's going to be a lot of people holding very expensive roofing company, at the end, and like hopefully they're not over leveraged.
I think a lot of them hold a lot more overhead than they let out too.
Sure. I
Like
see
30 company vehicles, billboards everywhere.
Yeah, man.
You're this, you're that. You have a big office. You have a fucking big team. And you still only have a $5 million business.
That's what I mean. Like
that's whenever I look at it and I tell people, and I'm like, listen, man, like my business isn't gigantic, but like I'm running way more leaner than that from an overhead standpoint. And I'm like, our business does 12, 13 million a year. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you have all what you're doing and you gross 5.
Yeah, because what most of them
I'm like, you have $1 million in loans just on your vehicles.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like, how the fuck?
Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them, I see them doing like some commercial work, so I know that probably helps because
you're offsetting into big leverage.
Yeah, and we do a good bit of commercial roofing, and I know, but
there's a reason why Birds and Scallows does what they've done.
Yeah,
in the commercial sector forever.
And that's a very competitive market too. I mean, nowhere near as competitive as the residential asphalt shingle market, but. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm waiting to see. We just bought a really, really good small roofing company last October, Bronson Roofing, and it was. I mean, they've been around 40 years, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy.
And you keep the company name still the same.
Oh, absolutely.
You keep everything stays the same. All the branding, all the stuff stays the same. You basically just put an operator in and fucking off the races we go.
Yeah, and
trying to make it profitable day one.
And typically the old owner stays on for a series of time.
Sure.
And the stuff that we've learned from them is just like, I mean, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these guys have been running their companies longer than I've been alive.
No doubt.
And it's like, you can't get that knowledge anywhere else.
No, that's the absolute wisdom.
Yeah.
Funny thing that you said that is my dad was a landscaper for 42 years and he just sold.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, that's the fucking goal, man. And now he works with me.
Yeah.
He's just our permit manager, just runs, 3 days a week, just stay busy, have some fucking fun and just, get out of the house. And
sure.
But you start to hear, him talk about what he learned and did when he started the company, and you start to learn on how he started to hedge this and do that. And like you said, there's a wisdom there that can't be defined.
Yeah.
Because it came from, like you said, there's the conceptual phase, and that people will never understand unless you've done it.
No. Yeah. And think about all the trends that they saw.
Went through. That's what I said.
What I mean? Like,
that's what brings me back to that topic about that marketing shit. I said, because my dad said to me, he's like, hey man, I kept my head down and worked my fucking ass off for 40 plus years, and I never paid attention to nobody else. He's like, all of a sudden I reached my head up and looked around, and he was like, I was the only fucking one left doing it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like all these landscaping companies now have supply yards, and they all do hardscape, they do concrete, they do putting greens, they do all this shit. My dad's like, I don't fucking want to do none of that. I don't want to do none of that.
Yeah.
He's like, that's when I finally realized that, like, okay, hey, the game is no longer, it's past me. It's past me.
Yeah. I mean, was he bummed at that time, or?
I asked him that. I'm like, what do you do whenever you wake up one day and it's just over?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, like I had to accept it. He's like, I had to accept that I couldn't play at the level that I wanted to play at. He's like, you know, I'm extremely happy that I was able to sell. I mean, that's your goal as a business owner, you know, to inevitably sell at the end, and for whatever amount of money it is, doesn't matter. And, you know, he made sure that who he sold it to would carry on the exact integrity that he did for his clients. That was more important to him than anything. He was very selective on who he decided, because there was a lot of people that wanted to buy it whenever they started hearing that, like, just for the clientele list even, and all the other stuff. And he was like, listen, I'm not willing to put he's like, dude, my customers paid for my life, my entire life. He's like, I can never do that to them, you know? And so it was a big decision as far as like who got it, what went into it, you know, making sure those people that he introduced to the higher end people were more concerned. Some of the higher end clients wanted to meet with that guy, make sure all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. But that was the cool part to watch with him, was it wasn't about the money. He actually took less money.
Okay.
But he sold it to the person he felt was going to do it the correct justice for the people that took care of him for his entire life.
Yeah, that's important.
But he did say recently, he's like, you know how nice it is to go through. And he didn't have CFOs and people in like that kind of took the brunt of what we have now. He was like, you know how nice it is to be able to go fishing now and not have one fucking person call you?
Yeah.
I was like, I bet.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, that is rough. I remember those days when I was managing everything at Escajeda Masonry, and it's like, dude, the phone never stopped. Never stopped. Yeah. It became my company line. I had to get a new cell phone.
Yeah, for sure. It has to.
Yeah,
because we, you know, even with us, I mean, we have a Google line, but like, you know, it goes to, you know, recording or this or that. And I'm not in sales anymore. I came from sales. So like, I don't get the weekend emails. I don't really get the weekend calls anymore. So like, you know, me and you don't feel it from the same presence as we once did. But I mean, when I tell people that, like, that comes with a price. To not have to get them phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
That means somebody else is taking them that you're sharing your piece of the pie with.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to buy some of these other companies and you're now getting to put a COO into a position, do you ever come into any of them that can't sustain profitability by putting a high-end client into that?
Well, that's
because any C-suite employee is not cheap.
No, it's sometimes the money's not there, right? Sometimes there's just not enough money to.
It's hard to figure out, you know, on a business. Let's say it's a $2 million roofing business, was a mom and pop's business, and then you go to put a $200,000 COO.
It's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. I hope it's a slate repair company only and has like minimal materials.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what I would hope. But at the same time, too, you know, and one thing that I've learned, and I'm trying to look more closely at is for things to buy is. I like when the company has some kind of management structure in place already, right? Like, because what's the goal? The goal is just to buy it and let it run itself, not me implement boots on the ground. That's going to cost me $150,000 to $250,000 a year.
That's got to be the tough part of buying the old time drunk man's roofing company that just kind of has it on notepad and paper.
It is tough. It is, but there's still value in it.
Absolutely,
there's still some value in it.
Fuck
you know what I mean?
Is.
And it's like. Maybe that's something that's coming to an end too. I don't know. Maybe, but at the same time, it's like it takes a lot of post-closing work there because you got to do that. Like I always call it the post-closing dance because you got to learn from the old owner, right? And it's like just because you stroke somebody a check that says that he's working for you now, right? He hasn't been told what to do for the last 35 to 40 years.
He's not going to feel great.
No, and guess what? Even though he signed the APA, he received the check. I'm selling you the company. You're going to work for me for the next 9 months. Do our agreement. Like, there's still some psychology in there. Like, you can't just be like, all right, hey, this is what I like. There's some finesse you need, you know, because you want him to help you.
Yeah,
you know,
because if like you start treating him like an actual, you know, ride them hard like any employee. You could just say, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And then what's the alternative? Oh, now I'm going to go to court. Now I'm going to spend the next 6 months about you violating an agreement. And I'm probably not going to get paid.
Yeah, lose, lose, lose.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah, so I try to minimize that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that was always my thing when I was thinking about it, is like, you know, when you kind of buy these companies that are not ran like a organized company, right? And some of them are and some of them aren't.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of the roofing companies, again, some of them have sold recently. They have leadership teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're profitable.
No. And I can tell you
Is that the reason why?
I can tell you that firsthand by seeing people's numbers.
No doubt. Is that the reason why a lot of your deals don't work? Is they're just not profitable? Mm-hmm. Is that because a lot of contractors cook their books?
I wouldn't say. Well, if the ones I'm thinking about were cooking their books, they're cooking them in the opposite way.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
And then,
like just for name's sake, you want like their name, the goodwill.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Because that's all you're essentially buying.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. But at the same time, too, you look at it and it's like, well, I still need some profitability, right? I still have to put a new manager in there, and it's I don't know. Then it starts becoming like real sticky. Like my opinion is like, if I'm looking at a deal, if I'm looking at a company and putting my valuation on it, it should be so evident, and like my 10-year-old son should be able to look at it in 10 seconds and be like, yeah, that's a good deal, a no-brainer, right? Because I'm not super smart like that. It's like I need it, okay, it makes this much, I'll make my money back in this many years. Done. Let's go.
Ever bought one you shouldn't have?
Probably, but we turned.
You made them work.
Yeah, made them work. Yeah,
More work than you wanted.
Yeah, my CPA always tells me, he's like, you're eventually going to buy a real loser. I was like, man, we're speaking that into existence. My little rain cloud. He says it to me once a month. Yeah, but
Mine does that too.
I don't. It's the nature of like tax accountants, and I don't know. Maybe
he's always like, why are you not happy to talk to me? I'm like, because you always just tell me bullshit.
Yeah, or how much I owe the IRS.
It's always every fucking conversation. He's like, you got $300,000 laying around? I'm like, no, no, I fucking don't. No, I don't. No, maybe I don't want to give it to him. You know, how about we figure out a way to get that down? How about you talk to me about that? That'll make me smile.
Yeah, right.
Not instead of like, I think we need to bump your payroll bonus to like more taxes. And I'm like, why is this always the conversation?
Yeah, that's I don't know. Taxes are a major bummer. Don't get me on. I'm patriotic, and I believe we need certain things. But I'll tell you what, like sometimes it's just like, dude, you need this much.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think to myself, like,
especially now, starting to hear about where it's all going.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Like how many jobs I could have created with that excess, right?
If I had my couple, all the money I paid in taxes back, it would be I'd have 22 more businesses.
Yes,
crazy. Employing way more people.
Yeah.
Not that there's,
like, don't get me wrong. I state and local, I think are probably. I hope they're going to the right places, but the roads we drive on, township and shit. But I don't know.
So is that a hurdle for you when you're buying these businesses, evolving them? Because some of them are probably ran pretty old school.
They are, yeah. No, well, yes. Evolving them just to like a normal,
standard, just like where the standard is now in 2025.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. Believe me, like that comes with a lot of resistance at times. And
change sucks for everybody.
Yeah, and it's like you're on one side of it. I understand the employee side. Like, hey, I've been doing it like this for 25 years, and this new owner isn't going to come in and tell me how to do it.
Guy.
Then I think in my head,
he's just in it for the money.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, hey,
no,
you don't know.
Changed.
You don't know what I had to do to get this money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is important. I didn't just have this laying around in a shoebox.
Big risk here.
Yeah. Major risk.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's definitely a risk, but it's tough. Just make your gut check a lot of times and try to appease everybody without being a pushover. Yeah.
I'm assuming you've changed your method to this every time you've kind of bought one because you've kind of flushed out a new problem, new issue, new thing arise. And that's because that's how, people always wonder how processes and systems happen. I'm like, listen, you have the birth stage, and then you fuck everything up, and then you just start filling gaps.
Yeah.
that's called a system and a process.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get that, like, and we look at a lot of systems and processes now in our company just because we have a lot of internal department shit. And like everybody doesn't like to talk to one another, even though they'll walk by each other and give each other the finger and tell you fuck you and you suck, but they won't like tell anybody about the change that happened over here and how it affects every fucking buddy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's wild, man.
It's always an issue whenever you kind of start to corroborate. As the businesses get more people, more this, more that, you think it becomes less complicated, but it almost becomes more.
Oh yeah, for sure. And people are like I said before, like it's all about like resistance. So like I always think it's like really, really important to crystal clear explain why I'm doing something and what like I see down the road. Like and it's like,
do you do that as like a leadership meeting thing, or is that
yeah, I guess if you want to
thing?
call it that, yeah. And I just basically it's like, okay, guys, this is what I want to buy, and this is why, right? And if we can do it like this, you know what I mean? We can have this in excess, or as long as I explain, like I always try to like just I'm not like a closed book. Like I'm not going to surprise them with anything. Like, hey, this is exactly how the plan I want is laid out. And to tell you the truth, now you have more people working towards it. So it's sometimes it works, and other times people don't think it's a good idea and kind of half-ass it. But mostly the people they're in the upper tiers of helping me are pretty helpful.
Yeah, no doubt. Have you had any of the companies that you've dealt with or bought that have basically, when you bought them, half the company decided to leave?
No, I haven't. None.
Because I've heard of that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I haven't had anything like that. We had to, unfortunately...
Like senior employees don't want to deal with a new owner, or other people start to feel like the culture's not the same, and I don't want,
No, our retainage rate is great, and the only thing... 2 years ago, we bought a company up in Erie, and after about a month, we found out 90% of the office staff was the old owner's family.
Oh, okay.
And
that's tough.
And we had to fire them all because there were no-show jobs. But it was like $400,000 at the end of the year.
Oh, okay, yeah,
with salaries.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's a major.
Fuck yeah.
Like, hey, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, do some savings.
Obviously, it's nobody wants to fire anybody, but at the same time too, like that. What do we go back for? Like that's bloat.
It's enormous.
Yeah, you shouldn't have so much bloat in the company, right? And obviously beforehand it was disclosed that these were key people, and
sure
they were never there.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
Yeah, they were key, all right.
Yeah,
they were key to we're gonna keep the family afloat. That was key to.
Yeah. It's like so
not key to the growth of the business.
Yeah, but no, we've retained. I mean. People leave, but not from a closing. Sure. No, that hasn't happened. I hope it never does.
Yeah, no doubt. So, is there a number you're shooting for of just companies you look to acquire before like enough's enough, or like
I do. I make these numbers up in my head sometimes, but the bottom line is like I always have to tell myself it's like have the temperament of knowing when a good deal is coming. Don't just buy it because like you're bored.
Yeah.
Don't just buy it because it's for sale.
Yeah.
Like analyze it. Is this a no-brainer?
Yep.
Is this,
discipline's a big thing.
Like hate to quote Berkshire Hathaway, is this on our strike zone? Yep. Like and sometimes you got to wait for that. And believe me, I've tricked myself into forcing it to like, hey, this is a deal and I'm going to I'm going to work these numbers until it makes sense. But that was me forcing it, and I've paid for that.
I've done it too, and that's why I've again, like we talked about, I bought that fucking property I typically don't buy.
Yeah,
and here I am again, where I'm like, fuck, I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it. Because I was like, I need to buy something.
Yep.
I'm like, I didn't need to buy a fucking thing. Yeah. I didn't need to.
Yeah.
I didn't need to put the energy and effort into that.
Yeah,
I have enough shit going on. You know what I mean? That's
right.
Could have waited for another thing. It probably could have popped up if I just would have stayed patient.
It's like I pray for temperament, dude. It's just like stay, you know what I mean? Like don't. You just get bored.
Yeah.
You get bored. Yeah, I know you do too. I guess so. It's like okay. What am I going to do?
We're going to do the next
We haven't done it. We haven't done anything in a while. Like, let's make something happen.
I want to come in here and make chaos real quick.
Yeah.
Come in here and create this chaos real quick.
That's correct.
And then feel back at home. And then when the storm clears, I'm going to see how I can go fuck something up somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing. Do the same thing.
That's cool, man. I appreciate you coming on. I really
Yeah,
do.
dude.
I love to hear your story. Yeah, dude. Me and you align on a lot of stuff. I don't know who reached out to me about you. I don't know, somebody inside your company.
Eddie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, our business development guy.
Man. That dude was not wrong. I mean, I align with you on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like I really do.
He's a sharp cookie.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate that. Tell him I appreciate this conversation. I really do. And that's kind of the whole point of it, man. I mean, it was cool that, to see how much we aligned, and we align on a lot.
Yep.
And that made for a good conversation. And yeah, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in and being a part of this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt.
It's awesome.
No doubt.
Thanks.
Cool.
Cool.